Yeah, now we're back, hopefully. And maybe now quality isn't as good, but at least it will not be all shitty. So yeah, this is just going to be a Q&A right now, because originally the plan was to do this whole thing where I was going to like produce a track, and then the internet was stupid, and then yeah. So for some reason, then this is another Q&A. Like if you were in the other Q&A, this doesn't count. I don't even know. Anyway, so you've made it to this Q&A. You've made it to this live stream. So hopefully things will, I don't even know. I'm in a bad mood already. Okay, that's the sexy frame rate. Oh yeah, full 30 PS, 30 frames per second. Play Donna Lee. Give me 1 second to grab my bass and I will play some stuff, but I can play Donna Lee for everybody. I know that's, of course, the epitome of music, playing Donna Lee. Playing a piece of music that Miles Davis said he wrote, but he definitely did not write. That's definitely Charlie Parker. Miles Davis is very famous for taking credit for a lot of stuff that he didn't actually write, like Blue and Green by Bill Evans. Definitely, he said that he wrote Blue and Green, but it's definitely Bill Evans who wrote it. Anyway, Donna Lee. Let me see if I remember how to... I don't think I actually remember how to play it. Something like that. I remember the first phrase. Not working for me either. Whoops. I'm sorry. Hopefully this is working for most people. But do you know Firework by Katy Perry? Yeah, I do know Firework by Katy Perry. Would you like to see me try and sing it? Do you ever feel like a plastic bag running through the wind? Something to start again. Da na 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 na. Na 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 na. Da na da na da. Do da da ignite the lights of paradise. And now, like the 4th of July. 'Cause baby, you're a firework. Yeah, there are a couple hundred people watching me sing that. It's 4th of July. I get it. Yes, that was why I was smiling right there. Thank you. Hopefully that was a solid 5 out of 7 for everybody. Any good bass pieces from Billy Joel's repertoire? Yeah, I mean, like, his bass player in his band, for all those, like, classic Billy Joel recordings, he was actually pretty good. Just check out, I don't know, all the Billy Joel, like, I don't want to say that I like Billy Joel, but his songs are, like, really well put together. So, you know, that is a thing. I figured Miles lied about Donna Lee. Miles' composing was too lax for the kind of frantic nature of Donna Lee. Yeah, Miles Davis, when he wrote bebop music, like for the album The Birth of the Cool, it was a very different sort of style compositionally. Like, Donna Lee is definitely Charlie Parker's compositional style, so I'm not really quite sure why he says, like, hey, like, this is mine, because it's kind of obvious, at least in hindsight, that Donna Lee was definitely written by Charlie Parker. Zolan writes, I was wondering if you have any advice on regaining my original love for music after having a bad experience in jazz college. Don't play music for a while. Go and hike. Go and do something besides music. Yeah, I was very depressed after music school, even though most of the time I had a pretty good experience with music school. I would say definitely go out and do something besides music for a while. Overexposure leads to a lot of different bad results, and I would also suggest doing other kinds of music, radically different kinds of music than what you normally are used to. Like, jazz is definitely can lead to some dark places, but like if you, I don't know, take up bluegrass music, or I don't know, some cumbia. Somebody on Facebook was turning me on to Peruvian cumbia music, and I was like, this stuff is pretty cool. I've never listened to this, and so just because, by virtue of the fact that I had never really been exposed to it before, I was getting really excited about it. So that's just those are some ideas. Play hot crossed buns. artist. Stupid. Play the chicken. For some reason, I always play the chicken on these things. I won't do that. Aberdeen writes, hot dog, hot dog, hot dog. I play in Brian Ploutz's band, Aberdeen. It's a really awesome band. You guys should definitely check them out. They're featured in several of my gig vlogs, and he is now trolling me right now. That's awesome. Lol, is this the live stream? This is the live stream. There's some dumb fuckery with my client, and so I'm just streaming from my phone, which apparently is so much better. So, oh my god. Oh, hey, Adam Davis, thank you so much for the donation of $20. I really appreciate it, guys. I have pretty amazing people supporting the channel and supporting what I do, so thank you for donating, and thank you for watching too. I'm sorry if I ever come across as like too glib with my appreciation, but thank you very much, because it really means a whole lot to me that people are that appreciative. Well, thank you also, Renik Bonshirik, for your donation. Geez, very, very, very generous. I'm sorry, I'm like lost for words right now. Play Syrinx. I don't actually know Syrinx. Sorry. You don't need money. Would you rather have cold cash or warm bodies? Like both, that'd be fantastic, but warm bodies would be great. He's gonna tear up at $1,000 donation. I might, I don't know. Any tips on giving, any tips on, let me learn how to talk. Let me talk better right now. Any tips to get over being nervous about going to jam sessions? My college has a jam session at the bar every week, but I'm too self-conscious of my playing and don't want to embarrass myself. Part of being a musician, or part of actually just doing anything as a performer, involves a lot of embarrassing yourself, and it depends on the kind of personality type you are, because some people really like to lean into that experience of being embarrassed by something, and other people just don't really want to deal with it at all. The problem is that in order to get better, you kind of have to have those experiences, because when you're a musician, you kind of are a performer. You're getting up on stage to perform, to entertain. And, you know, jam sessions are great and terrifying because you're being judged so much more harshly than any other situation. I am being judged right now. Like, right now I'm in a couple hundred people are watching me rant about stuff, and I have to know what it is to perform for them, perform for everybody. Be, you know, noodle on hot crust buns inefficiently, or not inefficiently, but like sloppily. Like, I don't know, any of the dumb things that are going to be like requested. I have to like learn to reconcile those feelings of being embarrassed, or reconcile those feelings of feeling like I'm not worthy, or reconcile those feelings of feeling like whatever I'm doing is shit, with just the need to perform, because I'm a musician and I need to do this. This is kind of the point of it all. Otherwise, I'm just going to be in a room like huddled, just without like sharing what it is I want to say to the world. So it's this kind of you have to. That's the necessary part of being a musician. I think that's just kind of my rambling answer to that. But anyway, yeah. Hey, Mr. Neely, flat wounds or round wounds? These are really dead, not really dead, but pretty dead round wounds. I prefer round wounds. I've been back and forth a bunch of times. Oh my God! 4th of July. A lot of very excited, patriotic Americans around. The Conservatory of Music in Australia added the technical metal song called "And Plague Flowers the Kaleidoscope" to their curriculum a few years ago. Have you heard about this? Nope, had not. Bronx gunfire. Let me tell you a little bit about the neighborhood that I live in the Bronx. When I first moved here, I'd been living in a kind of a really crappy neighborhood for a while in New Jersey. And I first moved here kind of always on edge because it was a very not safe area that I was living in. Very cheap in Jersey. But then moving to where I am in the North Bronx, I I was very jittery about a lot of different things, just jittery about people, just always making sure that I was like on guard and everything. And like late at night, walking home from the bodega, the corner store, the deli, I'd gotten like a sandwich or something. I heard a voice behind me, like this big, like booming voice, just shout, "Stop pushing! Stop pushing!" I was like, "Ah, fuck! Like, what is this? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to deal with anything." And I hear it again, "Stop pushing!" And I turn around, and it's like this really large, kind of fat guy, fat Hispanic man, talking to his like tiny poodle, like tiny chihuahua, and he's saying "stop pushing" because he doesn't want the dog to like be pushing on the leash or whatever, and he's on his phone. I'm like, man, this is such a radically different change of pace here. The vibe in where my neighborhood is like a million times nicer and a million times more friendly, and that "stop pushing" moment happens over and over again. It's an interesting thing. Like the neighborhood and your environment really your environment wherever you are really like affects your mood. It affects everything about how you relate to people in the world. And I love where I live right now. It's great. It's kind of far from like Manhattan and Brooklyn, but it's just a very nice, friendly neighborhood where large fat men yell at their tiny dogs to stop pushing. So anyway, hola, can you play bass like Mark Hoppus? He's a great musician, like the best. Fun story. I was actually meaning to make a video about this. Mark Hoppus, Tom DeLonge, and Travis Barker are the musicians of Blink-182, and the question that was like raging in all of our minds, like, okay, so a couple weeks ago, Blink-182's "What's My Age Again" was requested for a wedding that some people were playing, and some of those musicians were then playing on a wedding that I was playing this past weekend, and they had this heated argument about how Blink-182 was feeling "What's My Age Again," and like if you think about like this, where the chord note, like this, like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, I would think in order to count in the introduction to "What's My Age Again," I would think 1 2 3 4 1 2. I took her out. It was a Friday night. Da da da. Na 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 na. So the downbeat is happening. I took her out was the downbeat, but that's apparently not how Blink-182 feels it. And when you listen to the live versions, it's actually completely radically different. It would be 1 2 3 4 1. I took her out. It was a Friday night. I took her back. Like that. And I still can't hear it the second way, the actual way. I always grew up listening to it where the anacrusis, the pickup, happens so that out comes on the downbeat, out comes on 1. And it was a really fascinating example of how different musicians would interpret where 1 is, because we were arguing so passionately, and there's arguments, really strong arguments to suggest that 1 is the downbeat versus the other, and back and forth in terms of like how the harmony works and all these other things. But yeah, Blink-182 caused the most like just deep visceral anger among this group of like highly professional musicians and like highly trained musicians and serious musicians. But we're like, no, they felt it this way. And turns out that they felt it not how I felt it, and I still don't really know it. Anyway. So, hi Adam. In regards to Exigence, which is my big band piece, check out Exigence. Definitely check that thing out. Did you give every musician access to the score and all their parts, or just their parts? And how much of the parts were written, and how much was it left for improv? Probably 95% of the parts were written out, and I gave them access to demos. I demoed the entire thing. I think it's important whenever you're about to record something or perform something to demo it, just like through, you know, shitty MIDI and like whatever you can, to just give a full demo so that they can practice along and hear like generally what you want from them. But yeah, I gave all the musicians their parts. I was looking through them, you know, each part was about 25 pages long because it's a 30-minute piece of music, so it's like, you know, the whole thing, several hundreds of pages of music I had to print and collate and everything. It was pretty intense. So yeah. Wow, so many questions. Oh. Shub Saran asks, do you like playing with Bry Guy? Yes, I do. By the way, Shub, thank you for agreeing to play on the session this Friday. That's awesome. Shub is a friend of mine. and he's a guitarist, and he's great. And now I see a bunch of friends in the chat. That's awesome. You went to Berkeley with ContraPoints when he was still studying music, right? What was he like? Oh, man. ContraPoints, otherwise known as Nick. I don't know if anybody knows. Maybe he has never said his last name, but I'll just call him Nick because that's what his name is. Yeah, that was wild like thing. He was a piano player and he was cool. He's part of this band that we put together called, and this is like, I've never talked about this at all, but the band at Berkeley we put together just for like playing each other's jazz music. It's called the Naked Nine, and we just got together like every Sunday and just rehearsed like random weird jazz music with each other, and that was fun. Sean Crowder, the drummer from Sungazer, was part of the Naked Nine for a while. Yeah, sorry, I might have I guess outed the first name of ContraPoints. I'm sorry if I apologize, ContraPoints, if you don't want to ever be known as that, but crap. Oh well, it's live. And now all of the fireworks are going on in the background. Great. Woo! Well, fuck it, we'll do it live. Hey Adam, I love your videos that talk about the relationship between harmony, melody, and rhythm. I was wondering how time signatures fit into that relationship. Well, time signatures govern rhythm. Normal and odd ones. A lot of people have been asking me for time signature videos, and I don't know if I could do that as well as like a lot of the drummers do. I mean, I do have one video which is like my how to speak in odd time signatures video, which gives kind of a pretty decent like overview of the whole thing. Yeah, so yeah, this is not probably the most engaging sort of conversation about time signatures, but you know, hey, I'm doing this. Jared Schneebel asked, do you like Mike Dirnt? Yes, I grew up on Blink-182, and clearly Blink-182 is the better between, or not Blink-182, sorry, Green Day. Clearly Green Day is the better pop punk band between Blink-182 and Green Day. Green Day's better. Green Day's the better one, clearly. Love Dookie. Dookie was great. Grew up on that shit. Just like raw, stupid, dumb pop music, but just eminently fun and playable. And yeah, I really liked how those songs came together. What is the most interesting music theory fact you know? I don't know. Music theory is not that interesting. Why do people keep asking me about music theory? I'm just kidding. Only half kidding. Do you like Rob Scallon? I think I really like what he does with his channel. I'll say this, it's not stuff that I would seek out. Normally I don't actually seek out all that much music related stuff because I mean, there's very few music related channels that do things like what he does that I would go and seek out, because he's very good at doing one particular sort of, I guess, entertaining, viral, packaged sort of music video type thing, but he does it with a lot of care and a lot of craft, and I can really respect that. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on Rob Scallon. Jacob Collier, question mark. He's genius. He's great. I would love to talk to him about a bunch of stuff, because there's a bunch of stuff that he has specifically said, especially in the second June Lee interview with him, where I'm like, yo, I wanna pick your brain on some shit, because I think you would dig this, some of the stuff that I've been like researching recently, and I think I want to know more about what you think about this stuff, because he is great. Hey Adam, what do you think about quarter tones? How can they be used? So quarter tones are basically, the idea is like, well, let me actually tune my bass quarter tone like. So a quarter tone would basically be like this. I would play, like the notes in between the notes. I know I'm trying to tune it right now. But say if we had a G and then an A flat. Trying to get it right tuning. I don't have my ear right super attuned to quarter tunes right now. But if I had this G, it would be like a G half sharp and then an A flat. Yeah, it's something along those lines. It can kind of be pretty gnarly unless it's really perfectly in tune. And I haven't really found any sort of use for quarter tones. And apparently the people, the street violence in the Bronx is really bad right now. Meaning, it's almost, yeah, it's going to be going until like 2 o'clock, all the fireworks. So, anyway, so quarter tones, they're kind of hard to get into your ear, and I've never really, like... Are you done? Is it over? Are you done? Okay, I guess it's over. Yeah. Charles Ives has some interesting quarter tone pieces. Maybe check those out if you're at all interested in quarter tones. So, thoughts on the songwriting of Bon Iver, Justin Vernon. He's really, really freaking good. I haven't checked out his new album yet, unfortunately, because there's only so many things I can check out. But Bon Iver, from what I've heard, you know, that song Perth, just there's something about like this like new indie thing, that just epic indie thing, I guess, that I really dig, because you can hit hard with it, but it's still a new sound, and it's really interesting. And he has a lot of ideas that I wouldn't normally think of, like just his use of the harmonizer, not the harmonizer, the like auto-tune type things, which turn auto-tune into much more of like an artistic statement rather than like this annoying robotic sort of thing. And I really dig that, and I've taken some ideas from him from that. Yum. I play bass and my friend plays drums, trying to find a bassist and a singer. Or I'm sorry, I play guitar and my friend plays drums, but I am trying to find a bassist and a singer. Would you suggest us just get out there and play live, or wait until we get more members? It really depends on what you want to do. I would never stop. I would never, like, if you really need a bassist, if like the sound in your head really requires a bass player, I would try and find a bass player. Bass players are not that hard to find. Good bass players, yeah, that might be a little bit tricky, but just a good bass player might be hard to find. It seems like a lot of people have a lot of difficulty finding good musicians to play with, and I think part of the reason why people might have difficulty finding good musicians to play with, I'm going to go out on a limb here, is you yourself are not that great of a musician yet, so you need to be able to, in order to attract good musicians that want to play with you, you need to improve your abilities too. And that's something I think not a lot of people talk about. I see so many people like complaining like, oh, there's just nobody that's like good enough, everybody kind of sucks. But then maybe reflect that on you just a little bit, because I definitely know the better I've gotten as a musician, the better musicians I've gotten to play with. And it doesn't like really strike me as that difficult a concept to understand, provided that you're a good person and a good hang and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's my thought on that whole thing. Since you said you prefer Green Day to Blink, can you play the Longview riff? It's been decades. Oh, still in quarter tune tuning. It's been like 10 years since I've heard that song, and it just came out. That's really funny. Your take on Cecil Taylor. Brilliant musician, but man, is it really difficult to listen to Cecil Taylor for any length of time. Like the most intense free jazz you've ever heard. And it's great. It's awesome, but it's so freaking difficult. Okay. Have you read the theory book Modology? What are your thoughts if you have? Yes, I've read the book. The book is right here. And if you look in the credits, where is it? Acknowledgements. Acknowledgements. Oh, next to Mark Levine, I'm not sure if you can see this. Next to Mark Levine, there's my name, Adam Neely. Yeah, so I helped with some of the stuff on this book. This was a long time ago. It's really cool. It's really dense. The guy who wrote it, Jeff Brent, is a really smart guy. Really, really smart guy. I kind of moved away from a lot of the theory stuff that I was talking about in the video and like talked with him about in that book. But it's, yeah, so that's like, I love pointing that out. It's like, oh yeah, have you ever read that book? Yes, I have. Play Freebird. Nope. Play Primus. Sorry, I actually don't really know a lot of Primus, so dig him. Dig Les Claypool, but thoughts on bachata? I hear it all the freaking time. It's cool. I actually really, really enjoy it. There's a video posted of somebody playing, there's like a wedding band, you know, I hate to like talk about weddings all the time, but like every musician I know plays them because that's where the money is. Kind of like how 30 years ago it was like playing recording sessions. Now the money is all in weddings. The industry is huge, and you can make decent money in it. Anyway, there's like some really awesome Latin musicians I knew who were playing in one of those bands, and there's like some Vine video, or not Vine video, Vine. What are you, Grandpa? There's some Instagram story of like them turning like every pop song they had in the repertoire into bachata versions. So there's like the bachata Can't Stop the Feeling, Justin Timberlake, the bachata Uptown Funk, and it was really funny. Yeah, I hear it all the time, man. Do you actually like vaporwave? Definitely not. Oh man, after making that video, I look so down on vaporwave. It's weird how that has like changed my perceptions, but mainly what the perceptions were like, I made this like not really a vaporwave track, but how people like reacted to it was like, man, this isn't irony. People aren't ironically liking vaporwave. They're liking vaporwave. They're liking the sounds of vaporwave, and they're like somehow feel superior because of their musical taste, and then they like really dislike my track because it's not vapor. It was really weird. The reaction from the vaporwave community. I'm like, I don't really like any of this. So anyway, can we take lessons with you over the internet? I'm not really taking any new lessons right now, or new students right now, but I'll let everybody know if I am taking doing Skype lessons. It's just right now it's difficult to fit into my schedule. I'm doing this live stream right now mainly just because I have an extra hour, and also I might be doing these live streams like as kind of I might be doing them regularly now. I'll try and make them more regular for like Tuesday evening if I can make it. So, you know, that'll be fun. I like it. 732 people watching me talk. Hey everybody. What have you found are typical mindsets that contribute to writer's block? Writer's block, I feel like in my experience just comes from overexposure to the material. For me personally, so if I'm writing tons of stuff and then I get writer's block, it's because I've been writing too much in that stuff and my brain can't create something new within a particular sort of style or paradigm. I don't really get writer's block all that much. I don't get it that much recently just because I'm not staying too often in one particular realm. So I'm like, for a lot of the stuff that I write and a lot of the stuff that I do, I'll do it like once and then I'll move on to something completely different. So I'd say just vary whatever it is that you're doing. Try and like really change your mindset into doing something different rather than just staying in the same sort of vein, staying in the same sort of genre, staying in the same sort of production process, like this workflow. Change up your workflow, and those are things that can definitely help. What is your favorite scale? The negative harmony scale. No. Dorian. Let's go with Dorian. It's not Dorian, but let's say Dorian. How do you practice improvisation, bass and piano? I don't really practice improvisation on piano. I'm not really good at that. On piano, I mainly am just there to play. It's kind of like a compositional tool for me. Like, so if I want to write out something on piano, that's where I go. For improvisation on bass, I don't really practice improvisation so much specifically, like improvisation broadly. I'll practice specific ideas. Like, I want to do this thing, but like in this particular mode, I'm just going to be like seeing how many different ways that I can play really, really short notes and make it interesting. Like, I'll set up scenarios for myself just as like a practice tool. Yeah. There's a ghost behind you near the couch. I thought the cat was in here, and the cat isn't. Play your favorite song. That's now the thing that I've gotten everybody to do, is to see how many times they can play All-Star within. You know, like have you ever seen Super Troopers, where there's like the scene where like they try and get the guy to say meow as many times, you have to say it 10 times. So now it's like, how many times can you quote All-Star within a particular set? And so we're like essentially just playing All-Star at one another and seeing if anybody can notice. It's pretty obnoxious. Nobody thinks it's actually funny, but we do. Can you put the lick in All-Star? Let's see. Dumb. Hey Adam, how does one compose using multi-tonic systems / Coltrane changes? That's a really intense sort of question that I don't actually have an easy way of answering, like, immediately. Coltrane changes are basically a way of sort of shoehorning key centers shifting by major thirds into a progression. So if I was to like just improvise, like if the harmonic rhythm was like right here, like 1 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4, 2 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Like, the Coltrane changes would be something like, you start with the 2 of this key, then you do a quick 2 5 1 to this key, which is a major third up, and then you do, which is E major, and then you do a quick 2 5 1 to this key, which is a major third up from that, which is A flat / G sharp, and then back quickly to C, and it all happens like a lot faster, and it's like this whole like shoehorning process of getting all the major thirds into the same sort of same sort of chord progression. Something that I haven't really checked out a whole lot beyond just giant steps, like if I was to just do giant steps. That's giant steps, but I haven't been able to like take all that stuff and like put it into Coltrane changes stuff. So I apologize if I can't talk more about that. Why aren't you working? Come on. Cool. A lot of people want to know about sex music. I recommend Chillwave. Chillwave is really good sex music. Do you still take lessons? If so, with who? It's interesting. Not recently, and something that I definitely want to do more. Yeah. Okay. Couple questions. Is this is why you suck just for bass people? Can it be for voice people? If you don't sing, I'd value your feedback. Channel its best waifu. Yes, I will be taking pretty much any kind of submission, and I'll be posting this video hopefully next week. The problem is that I don't think I'll be able to give really nuanced opinions about anything besides bass players, maybe guitar players, and maybe piano players, because those are the instruments that I play and really understand. Everything else is just going to be a little bit more surface level, and I don't really like doing things surface level in anything. I like to try and get a little bit deeper into it and like give people information that they can actually use, but I can still maybe give some thoughts, at least for other people who don't play bass, guitar, or piano. So if you want to submit something to This Is Why You Suck, just send it to me on Instagram. It's _Adam Neely, or on YouTube, which is how people are watching this right now. So many of my music friends link me. Many of my music friends link me videos of slap basses and expect me to go, wow, but slap is not impressive to me. What is a good bassist? A good bassist is a bassist who can play in time and serve the song very well. Slap, yeah, never really impressed me all too much. I mean, almost to a detriment though, because now I've been having to relearn how to slap, and honestly, I'm not nearly as good as I could be. My favorite song to slap, by the way, is California Girls by Katy Perry. We're on a Katy Perry kick right now. That isn't really my favorite song to slap, but I have had to learn how to slap a little bit more controlled more recently. Slapping has turned me off a lot just because of how just like noisy and just sloppy it is in general. So I'm not really a slapping bass player by any stretch, but it is something that I've had to like relearn and reteach myself, because it is fun when you're keeping it controlled, but when it starts getting into like all that stuff, it just turns me off so much. Is math related to science? Yes. Yes, it is. Cool. Can you play Jazz Police? I cannot. I'm sorry. There's some nuts fireworks going on outside. Thoughts on Shostakovich? I actually don't know a whole lot about Shostakovich as much as I might want to. I do know that he has a string trio, I think, that I really, really dig. I need to go and check more of his stuff out, though. Beatles or Beach Boys? That's a great question. I mean, I really dig the Beatles. I know they're canon a lot, and it's really great music. It really, honestly is. But Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys is a goddamn genius. Just listen to Good Vibrations. Like, actually listen to that song. It's one of those things that you think is just like this cheesy background music, but then you listen to it and it's like, what the hell is going on? This chord progression? What? It's really complicated. It's maximalist production. There's so many different layers going on. There's a theremin on it. There's like, what the hell is going on? And it's stuff that is like very critically acclaimed by musicians and music critics, but for whatever reason, the Beach Boys in popular culture have always been like dismissed as like this like frivolous sort of thing, and the Beatles were the true artists. It's definitely the other way around. I mean, not saying that the Beatles are frivolous, but they definitely have a lot more pop appeal, I think. And when you really delve into what Brian Wilson was doing, just listen to God Only Knows. That song has some pretty amazingly intricate fugal writing, or like canonic writing, in terms of how the voices are interacting with each other. It's really awesome. It's really, really cool. So I recommend the Beach Boys. The cat is not here. He's sleeping in the other room. I'm not going to wake him. Didn't Carol Kay write the bass line to Good Vibrations? Carol Kay is another musician that's very similar to Miles Davis in that I feel like she did a lot, and it's very important that she has had solidified her legacy in recent years by being very like having documentaries and everything. But I feel like she like says everything that she's done. So she definitely might have written the bass, or like played the bass line to Good Vibrations. That sounds plausible, but like there's some things where it's like, were you everywhere then? Because I know there were other bass players playing at the same time that didn't get credited. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. I might be totally wrong. I might be like throwing shade where shade isn't necessary, because it's really good that Carol Kay has had such like attention drawn to her and what she did in the 60s and 70s, because she had a really particular tone, really particular approach, and wasn't credited then, but now is credited now. But just, you know, same thing with Miles Davis. Like, do you really need to take credit for everything? Communism is death, kids, according to Legerick Deckard. Thoughts on Paul McCartney as a bassist? Dig what he does. I definitely dig what he does. It's really nice of Rihanna and Kanye to give him a shot on 4 or 5 seconds, because he's about to blow up after that song. A lot of people are just saying something and then just saying thoughts on. I like questions which are a little bit more specific to something else other than just like listing an artist. Like, you know, tell me about how to be a better musician, Adam. Okay, I'll try and do that. Are you working on any solo music right now? Yeah, I kind of am. I mean, my main outlet for like production of music right now is like doing background music for gig vlogs. That's one of the things. I'm working on Sungazer stuff all the time. Most of my work, though, is honestly as a sideman, and I'm fine with that, to be honest. I do like to have the opportunity, like, in a couple days I'm going in to record with an orchestra, record myself for the arrangement that I did. So excited about that. I might live stream it. That would be exciting. You can see the whole process, see the whole boring-ass process of what goes into a recording session like that. That would be really fun. Warts and all, too, because it could be very warty. I might not live stream it because learning complicated music is never a smooth process. But I do like to have people like be able to sit in on that, because that would be really cool. Whoa, so many questions. Would you say Berkeley gives good scholarship? Is it expensive? It's extremely expensive, and the scholarship that they do give is not enough for most people, unfortunately. Yeah, I wouldn't be able... The only reason I was able to go is my parents helped me out for the first couple of years, and then I was able to get scholarship, and then I also graduated a year early. But even then, like, it was just, like, not really that great. It's possible to go if you're really good at hustling scholarship, and I did my best to hustle, and I thought I got some pretty decent scholarship because of that, but it's very expensive to go to Berkeley, unfortunately. Why don't you like Christian contemporary music? I'm going to answer this in my next Q&A, but yeah, it's kind of hard right now just to give you a definitive answer right now. The main reason is I feel like it's just not up to snuff. If you're going to be like, if you're going to make religious music, make it awesome religious music, and not make it watered down milquetoast nothing. Religious music, when I say contemporary Christian music, that does not equal like religious music or Christian music or anything like that. That does not equal. They are not the same. I'm going to list about like 6 or 7 examples from many different styles of just what I consider just divine, really amazing, just worship music. But then contemporary Christian music, I find anyway. I'll talk more about it later, because I don't have the words yet. I haven't thought it through yet. So, Adam, any experience with hemp cone speakers? Do they have a better low end? And what's your favorite brand speaker for bass? Oh my God, I've never heard of that. Hemp cone speakers. I don't really know a whole lot about like speaker or like the technology behind amplifiers, but hemp cone, that sounds hilarious. I had hemp milk recently. That was really good, really tasty. Still, I think I prefer almond milk of my milk substitutes. I think almond milk is the best. What's your favorite brand speaker for bass? Oh man, I really don't know. I don't know enough. I have really crappy experience with amplifiers. I like Ampeg SVT 8x10. That's about like whenever I ask for a backline, I'm like, I can have anything. Ampeg SVT 8x10. Let's do that one because it's just loud and rockish. But I don't have enough experience. In the next year or so, I'm going to get a little bit deeper into amplifiers and speakers and cones and stuff. So sorry if that wasn't super great. And what's your thoughts on the sound of a brass quintet? I think it's really cool. I wanted to know what you think. I think it is really cool. I think any kind of brass, especially in any sort of acoustic room that's really nice and like full and open, brass can be really beautiful. It can be really transcendently beautiful, especially if it's written well for brass. It can also be really annoying and really loud, but I think a brass quintet is awesome. I think it's awesome. Not enough music is written for brass quintet the way that I'd like. There is a brass quartet called the Westerlies that I'm friends with. Two of their trumpet players played on Exigence, actually. If you watch the video for Exigence, the two trumpet players for the Westerlies are in my band. And yeah, it's awesome, awesome stuff. I can't help think about when you mentioned brass quintet, the scene in The West Wing where Josh Lyman is reliving the PTSD experiences of when he was shot, and there's this whole like assassination attempt thing, and there's a brass quintet playing in the lobby of the West Wing, and for some reason when I hear brass quintet, that's like the experience that I remember. But anyway, awesome. Okay, so eyeball, thank you so much for the donation. The question is, admire your work and thoughts. Thanks. What do you think of Phil Lesh? Thanks, Adam. Phil Lesh is really awesome. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about his playing though. That's the thing, is like I really haven't like gotten too deep into Fish or any of that stuff. The whole jam band scene is kind of this question mark for me. Not because it's bad music or anything like that. It's just like it never really has translated onto recordings in any sort of meaningful way. So when I hear recordings of it, I'm like, okay, that's fine, they're jamming. Oh, they're still jamming? Okay, cool. All right, they're still jamming. If I saw it live, I'm sure I'd have a much different experience than that. But yeah, so that's one thing I haven't really gotten a whole big amount into. So anyway, why so few people like on the vids? I don't know. Click like if you want to. I don't know. The amount of likes I get really doesn't matter. It's just views and subscribers I care about. Mainly subscribers. Yeah, I really only care about how many people watch me. And I also care about like interacting with people. I don't really care about how many times people click like. Are you part of the Musicians Union? No, I'm not. The Musicians Union is something that most people here join when they need to join it. It's actually really easy to join the Musicians Union. You pay a fee basically, and then you're a member, and it's great. It's different than like the Actors Union, where you have to do like all sorts of crazy stuff because there's a lot more demand to be part of the Actors Union versus the Musicians Union. I'm on again, off again. Let's just say that, because I'll get a gig that I need to be part of the union for, so then I join the union, and then I don't have any more gigs, so then I let my dues lapse, and then maybe a year or two goes by, and then I need to be part of the union again. That's usually how it goes down, honestly. So, yeah. Would you say Take It Toes can free haul is, please? Taquitos con frijoles, please. I can just say taquitos con frijoles. That's all right. Adam, have you ever heard cumbia from Colombia? I have. I was actually talking to a guy about Peruvian cumbia recently, and he was showing me some of that stuff, but I had been more familiar with Colombian cumbia. It's really cool. I mean, any kind of Latin American style, there's so many, and I feel like I'm always like the gringo in the room whenever I'm trying to talk about it or listen to it. But it is stuff that I'm like, I'm slowly like kind of getting a little bit more an idea of in terms of like bass playing and stylistic sorts of ideas. I mean, honestly, in all honesty, I probably know a lot more than I like to, a lot more that I tell myself that I know. At least compared to other American jazz musicians who just say like, oh, that's Latin music. Like, no, it's so much more to music from south of America, south of the United States of America, I should say, than just Latin music, which is unfortunately what a lot of things are just kind of reduced to. Not even a distinction between Afro-Cuban and Afro-Brazilian and Afro, or like what we would call like Central American or whatever. Anyway, so that's just something, like, Americans generally are kind of idiots, but you know, that's what everybody already knows, so I don't have to explain that to everybody. It's 7 o'clock in the morning somewhere in Russia. Hello at the end of the line. Hello. I would love to say, you know, occasionally there's some Russian people who come into the chat, and I would love to say everybody's name, but I just cannot speak, I cannot read Cyrillic characters, so I'm sorry about that. So, Russian guy, how's it going? You get higher CPM with more likes. Do you? I guess. I don't know. Did you ever studied with someone famous? My two most famous teachers would be Jim McNeely and Dave Liebman, who played with Miles Davis for 10 years. They're famous, I guess, in a lot of circles. I think that those would be my most famous people. They're definitely the people that I'm the most proud to have studied with. I mean, I'm actually proud to have studied with a lot of people who are pretty fantastic. I got to study with Shostakovich's last student when I was at Berkeley. His name is Yakov Gubinov, who's probably the most brilliant musician I've ever heard. This Russian guy that was just unbelievable, and I studied counterpoint with him, and that was pretty amazing. Yeah. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of Primus fans in this chat. That's cool. Primus is cool, I guess. Primus sucks. Yay. I know the lingo. Hey, Adam. PhD? Would you do a music PhD if you were offered funds? Sure. I'm not doing anything. Meaning, yeah, I am doing stuff. I am running a YouTube channel. Yeah, I would do that. It would give me an outlet for a lot of study and give me an ability to study a lot of things, but I also might not. Getting a PhD would be honestly a means of being able to teach at the university level. That's really the main reason why I want to get a PhD. The thing is because I now have had this opportunity to study a lot of different things and have this platform to teach on YouTube, and a lot of people have heard of me because of YouTube stuff, I probably don't need that PhD anymore. So I don't know. It really depends. It really depends. It would have to be a pretty awesome program. Let me just say that. Primus does indeed suck. Thank you, Adam Davis, for mentioning that. Yeah, there is one PhD program that I would do, and it's pretty crazy, and I'll tell you what this program is. At Columbia University, they have I forget who it is. Let me actually look this up. But there's a style of music. There's a style of music in contemporary classical music called spectral music, and it's basically the whole music is wild. What they do is they take the waveform of like a trumpet, and they do something called a fast Fourier analysis of it, and basically figure out where all the harmonics of a trumpet are, and then they write music based upon where the harmonics of that trumpet lie on the harmonic series. So say on the when you play a trumpet and it's like a C or something like that, one of the harmonics would be the 11th harmonic. Say for whatever reason in a trumpet the 11th harmonic is really prevalent. They then start writing music based upon the 11th harmonic, trying to evoke the sound of a trumpet. It's really wild and really strange stuff. Anyway, they have a doctoral program there with that. Occasionally they accept jazz students. Most of the time it's all classical students, but they'll occasionally accept jazz students, and that would be awesome to do that doctoral program. But anyway, hey Adam, what's the advantage to getting a degree in performance instead of music education? If you plan on performing more than teaching, would a degree in music ed be a better backup? The Bronx is burning with fireworks. Yeah, so I would say this. If you get a degree in music ed, expect to teach at the high school level and expect that to be your job. A degree in music ed is designed to give you the ability to teach at the teach high school, and that be your job essentially. And that's fine, honestly, and that's great. But that's very different than like getting a degree in performance, where it's kind of geared to giving you the tools in order to perform, professionally. The backup thing, first of all, schools are you're gonna need to get accredited regardless of whether or not you have a degree in music ed or music performance. So the accreditation is this whole separate thing, and some master's programs in music ed will give you accreditation or something like that. So yeah, I would say just do whatever you want to do. If you want to teach, go get that music ed degree. For me, I wouldn't want to teach at the high school level, so I never got that degree. And of your Berkeley pals got famous or something like that? Yeah. The guys from Imagine Dragons were in my year. Dan Platzman was, I think, the drummer for Imagine Dragons. Fantastic jazz drummer. Unbelievable jazz drummer. But now is in Imagine Dragons. So it's probably the most famous of my alma mater right now. What other career would you choose if you weren't a musician? Career would be, oh man, what career would I do? I don't know, that'd be difficult. Yeah, what career would I do? I mean, I have so many other interests, but what would I do for money? I don't know, I have to think about that, because at some point, you know, maybe my career as a musician might have to come to an end. But, you know, I would still figure out a way of doing, like, stuff with music, so I don't know. Adam, experience with tendonitis. Know anyone who's quit their career because of it? Yes, I have. I definitely have. It's a nasty, nasty thing. So I would recommend, like, as soon as you start having symptoms, to like go see a doctor, and also go see a good teacher, because good teachers will correct the bad technique. Tendonitis is a result of bad technique, pure and simple. And good technique and finding a good teacher who can teach good technique is a difficult thing to come across, especially for like guitar and bass guitar and electric instruments, because most people weren't formally taught or haven't thought a lot about developing safe technique. So tendonitis can rear its ugly head pretty quickly, and there aren't too many maestros and masters of learning good technique. I like to think that those fireworks were very close to my window, because they were, and I also like to think that I have a pretty decent handle on what makes good technique, which is why I'm doing this whole, like, this is why you suck thing. But yeah, like, stop. First of all, stop playing when you get signs of tendonitis, and then only start playing again once once the symptoms have died down and you've seen a doctor or a good teacher. Hopefully both teachers. Psychedelics experiences. I've really not had any. Yeah, no, I haven't had any. No psychedelic experiences. Maybe someday. I don't know. I haven't felt the need. Is it possible to write 7 12-part chorales, all independent melodies? How do you achieve that type of extreme polyphony? A lot of practice and a lot of experience with counterpoint. What's your biggest gig ever? My biggest gig? I think the gig that the most people were watching me was when I was live. Well, actually, right now, 731 people. Honestly, actually, this is really funny. When I was doing the 5-hour practice routine live stream, there was like at one point 800 people were watching. That was one of the biggest performances I've ever given. Just me noodling over the major scale, which is kind of sad, but kind of awesome also. It was really weird. But yeah, the biggest in terms of number of people watching, probably when I was like live on television with Kelly and Ryan, whatever. I think there was about 3,000 people in the audience and several million watched it live. So that's cool. What are your thoughts on heavy electronic genres such as dubstep and electro? Do you feel as if they are actual music? Of course, I feel like they're actual music. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely, it's actual music. They feel like if you watch my channel, you get the sense that I'm a big defender of electronic music and what people do in order to create electronic music. The amount of craft that goes into electronic music, especially like people like Skrillex. Honestly, he's really good at what he does, and he can really his approach to writing and producing sounds is very nice. I don't want to say very nice, very intricate. It is very nice. I saw nice in the chat somewhere. It's very intricate, and I really dig what they do. So, you know, it is, of course, the equivalent to nu metal. It is like the 2010s version of what early 2000 nu metal is, just in aesthetic, I guess. But, you know, I'm at heart, I'm always going to be an angry white teenager, so, you know, that's why maybe I dig Skrillex. I don't know. Do you listen to IDM like Aphex Twin and Square Pusher? Yes, I do. And honestly, whenever I listen to Aphex Twin or Square Pusher, I almost get turned off. And it's not because of the music or anything like that. It's almost because there's something in the music which is just like so. It's like I hate to put it this way. It's too good. There's too many ideas in a way. It's too exciting. I don't know. I'm trying to describe my own reaction. It's like I can't listen to it for very long. I really can't. And that happens sometimes with some jazz music that I like to listen to occasionally. It's like it's very dense and it gets me excited about all the ideas because they're very new and very like expertly crafted, and they're very weird and odd. And I'm like, wow, this is so. Stop. I want to like experience it. I just want to like sit with it, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to explain the reaction. It's a hard one to really explain, but you know. Hi, I like how your vids combine music, theory, practice, history, science, and philosophy. I'm a philosophy PhD candidate, so who's your favorite philosopher? Camus, maybe, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of a pleb philosophy person. I mean, I dabble in philosophy. I dabble in this whole thing, but honestly, because my main thing is music, most of my experience with just higher ideas are musical ideas versus philosophical ideas, and the philosophical ideas I grab from wherever I can. So yeah, Camus, I guess. I don't know. It's just sorry if that answer is sorry if that answer is disappointing, because it's kind of disappointing to me, but you know. Keeping in mind how much you stress on networking, are people with social anxiety just fucked in the music business? No, but there are additional hurdles for sure. I would say that social anxiety is less of a hurdle than ego, if that makes any sense. So somebody's ego getting in the way of their social interactions, an inflated sense of self-purpose, or inflated self-importance, that gets in the way a lot more than any potential like awkward social interactions, or not even that, because I don't want to reduce social anxiety to awkward social interactions. Strong aversion to social interactions. That strong aversion to social interactions can be difficult to overcome, but at the same time, if you don't treat another person badly, because that's not really what social anxiety is, but if you don't treat another person badly, it's going to pay much more dividends than somebody who's outgoing but really a dick. So I don't want to beat around the bush and say that it's going to be equal to, like, if somebody with social anxiety can be have equal success or equal opportunity for the success of somebody without, because it is a lot more difficult. But definitely I know a lot of people who have worked through a lot of those things and been very successful musicians in their own right. Part of it also comes down to having a circle of people that you really trust, and if that circle is really small, that's fine, that's totally okay. But as long as you have some other musicians that you can trust and like to play with, that's a big part of it. Music is a very communal sort of event, When you play with other people, you really like, I mean, I think of it as a very, yeah, a communal sort of thing. So the more that you have other people with you, the better with this sort of thing. What do you think about mastery versus originality for artists? That's an interesting way of phrasing a question of like mastery of an instrument, technical mastery versus artistry. And of course, artistry comes first, of course. But the thing here is that artistry can sometimes be more difficult to achieve without a full understanding of an instrument. And it's also, artistry can be different. Artistry can be very different depending on what sort of art you're trying to create. So if this kind of art that you're trying to create is dependent on you being really good on your instrument, then you need to be really good on your instrument. I like being really good on my instrument, and not that I am really good on my instrument, but I like having some degree of technical control over what I do. So I want to be able to, like, if I want to just insert the lick into All-Star, which is what I did like back earlier in the thing, if I want to do that, I need to have the technical chops in order to, one, know how to play All-Star on the bass, but also where the lick might fit in within All-Star. And that gives all that like technical mastery of knowing where it is on the instrument, blah, 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 gives me the ability to do this and just let ideas flow out freely and flow immediately from here to here. And if you don't have that technical mastery of the instrument, you won't let that like connection between the two won't be there. That said, you need to be able to have those ideas in your head to be able to go out. So somebody who might not have technical mastery on their instrument, they will have the ability to realize ideas, but it will take them a lot longer. It's a lot slower of a process. So I think they go hand in hand, and I think it's ideally you want to have both, with a preference to artistry. But you know, I think that's how I like to think about it. Do you go to jam sessions? Where in your area do you go? Not really anymore, but if I did, probably Smalls. Smalls is the famous place where all the jazz guys go to jam. So if you're ever in New York, go to Smalls. Do you eat animals? Occasionally. I didn't today. Today I did not eat any animal. Well, never mind. I ate some eggs. Eggs count as animals, right? Yeah, okay, well. Normally I try and limit how many animals I eat. Try to keep how many animals I eat lower, but it's tough to find bandmates because of my aversion to overly prominent chord progressions. What's a good way to find more experimental players? Craigslist, I guess. I don't know. It's very difficult to say how to find players. I mean, I would say this. Find where people are performing. Find where the experimental players are performing. Go to their shows and introduce yourself there, rather than just worry too much about trying to make some interaction earlier than that. Find where the guys are, like the experimental people are playing. Go there, listen to their music, talk to them, meet them there. That's usually the way that I would try and meet people in a new city or something like that. Yeah. Have you ever looked into getting a Fulbright or grant funding? If so, how would you, do you have any advice on developing your ability to grant write? I've written one grant for the New Music USA something, and I didn't get the money, which sucks, but I don't know. I don't really have any good, like, it took so long to write that frickin' grant. I don't have any advice on writing grants, sorry, man. But some musicians, that's like their entire business model, is writing grant proposals and eventually getting a nice juicy grant and doing something and then going on to the next grant. Can you demonstrate left-hand muting technique? I'm beginner looking for information in a vast sea of misinformation. Yeah, left-hand muting technique is kind of hard to show on video. For the generic muting sort of thing, the very first video I uploaded for Adam Neely's bass lessons is called Mute Your Bass, or How to Mute Your Bass. So if you look on my channel, it's Adam Neely's bass lessons #1. I know, back 2 years ago. That gives you some information, so maybe check that out. How many nights a week are you performing outside of YouTube? Performing outside of YouTube? I'm performing every weekend. I have at least one or two weddings every weekend from now until November. And then beyond that, I have 2 or 3, well, maybe not 2 or 3, probably once a week outside of that. So altogether, at least 2 to 3 times a week I'm performing in some capacity. I still intellectually, maybe not intellectually, but I still feel like YouTube is just kind of a side gig that I do. My main thing is music. I'm a musician. Hey Adam, do you enjoy playing bossa nova? What about Brazilian samba? I do. Not a whole lot of authentic. I haven't really played anything authentically, but I can at least fake a good old bossa nova. I have a nylon string guitar. Let me make my bossa sounds. Let me do Corcovado, right? Let's see. Corcovado on the Brazilian guitar. That's my attempt at it. Hey, Brazilian guy says I'm alright at it. That's nice. But can you do classical gas? Nah. I cannot do that. I like the samba stuff and the bossa nova stuff. It's really nice. It's a lot of fun to play. What do you think of Piazzolla and his Four Seasons? How he took a known piece and made it his own? Oh, I didn't realize that Piazzolla did a version of the Four Seasons. That's actually really cool. I'm gonna check that out actually. That's gonna be my Piazzolla Four Seasons. That's cool. Do you have any book recommendations for a beginner bassist with no musical background knowledge? Not good. Just scouring the internet for that. I need more structure. I like The Hal Leonard Bass Method by Ed Friedland. Ed Friedland is a great bass teacher. It's like fantastically clear bass teacher for people who are like just starting out. And I think his Hal Leonard Bass Method is what I started to use when I was teaching beginner bass lessons way back when. Yeah. Can you backport all of your Q&A videos into podcast episodes? At some point. That's going to be a project for when I eventually hire an assistant or some kind of intern or somebody to work for me. That would be one of the things that they do. That's so much time to do that. I'm like, that's not a thing that I'm going to do. That's not a thing I'm going to spend my time on right now. But eventually it will happen, I promise. All future ones will definitely happen. Adam, have you ever used the composer sites or know anybody who uses it? Recently submitted my first composition to a contemporary ensemble. Any speculation on chances of winning competitions? Never heard of the composer site. That sounds interesting. I will definitely check that out. I haven't been doing a lot of composition recently, so I am completely out of the loop as far as those sorts of things go. Collab with Vsauce, please, at some point. Oh, the cat's here. Maybe we'll take this mobile. Hello, cat. Would you like to say hi? No? Are you feeling shy? You're feeling shy, cat? Motherfucker, you stole my seat. All right, the cat stole my seat. So, ever play on the subway? Yes, I have played on the subway. Busking on the subway is kind of a pain in the ass in New York City, and for a while they would. For a while in New York City, the cops would basically tell you that you needed a permit and tell you to move along, but we looked into it and there's no such thing as a permit. You can do it legally, but they'll still tell you that you need a permit and they'll just hassle you. It's been a lot less the case in the past couple years, but I haven't been busking recently, so. Can the cat play bass too? Believe me, I've tried to teach him, but he just won't. Say hello to the internet. Okay. Has your cat ever played in the subway? No. I'm gonna move back over here so I can do it. Hey Adam, is Rock dying? I mean, Rock hasn't been alive for the past several decades. Get up! Come on. Get up. What does your desk look like? Okay, this is what my desk looks like right now. We have the iPad looking at the chat stream and then that stuff, and then it's all overexposed right now, but that is what my thing looks like. All right, back to it. Hey Adam, when are you starting This Is Why You Suck? Either next week or the week after. I haven't decided if I'm gonna record that or a Q&A for next week. I probably will record the Q&A just because I like keeping the Q&A like every other week. It keeps it a little bit more consistent. But This Is Why You Suck will probably happen soon. I mean, in an ideal world, I'll be able to do a couple more than just one video a week, but it hasn't really panned out that way. And I also am like very fickle with how I like to edit things, so I could be churning out more stuff, but I like to make things like tight and clean. So even if I'm not good at making things tight and clean, I'll still obsess over minor details. So. What's your favorite band, Adam? Rage Against the Machine. No, maybe. I don't know. The cat is gorgeous. Thank you, Daniel Velichko? Daniel Velichko. Thank you. It's not my cat, technically. It's my girlfriend's cat, but the cat still makes appearances in every episode. There is the cat. How can you be booked for a gig? Oop, lost that question. How can you be booked for a gig just out of curiosity? In terms of if you want me to play bass for you, you can email me. I think my email is listed on my website, adamneely.com. You can talk terms, talk about my rate, etc. if you want me to be playing bass for you. In general, I don't play... It has to be the right opportunity, but... yeah, in general, I'm not taking on too many more opportunities, but I do have a pretty close circle of people that I play with regularly. Thoughts on Bob Reynolds' YouTube channel? Bob Reynolds is awesome. He produces really high quality vlogs, not gig vlogs, but just vlogs, really high quality, which is why, and he does it consistently and has been doing it for a while. You know, I think it's really awesome. He's like definitely, him and Yannick Gwisdal are definitely two people that I have been following for a long time, way before like the YouTube stuff. And it's so exciting to see them like really create like really awesome YouTube channels also. And just really interesting ways of engaging with people. Bob Reynolds is awesome. I love his videos. So many questions. Sorry, guys. I'm only just kind of cherry-picking questions right now. What's the name of the cat? This is Echo the Cat. Echo the Cat. Play the bass solo on Bulls on Parade? You mean just the ba-do, ba-ba-do, ba-ba-do, ba-do, ba-ba-do, ba-ba. It's just a fucking octave. I love it. It's the hardest, it's the heaviest riff I've ever heard. And it's not in drop tuning. In fact, it's not even an open string. It's just a F sharp. It's so goddamn good. Anyway. You told to count to improve timing, but stuff like 4/3 polyrhythms and top vids video is easier to feel and just play bass than count 1, 2, 3, 4 for me. Actually, it blows my mind. Do I have to blow it, or I already feel it's okay? Okay, so that's actually a great question. Let me sort of rephrase that question just to make it a little bit easier for everybody to understand. So basically the question is, for like doing that sort of 4/3 polyrhythm, like the which is kind of, you can think about it a couple different ways, 4/3 polyrhythm, or dotted 16th notes, or there's a bunch of different ways. But the question is like, well, can I just feel it and play it, or should I try and count along while playing it? The thing is though, it is really difficult to try to count to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 while you're playing it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very difficult, and what you need to be able to do in order to count along with it at the same time is you need to know exactly where all the 16th notes are landing with your voice. But it's something that like is so innately, you can just feel it, man. And it's something that I had to struggle with in order to learn how to play, and I feel like everybody does, because it's something that everybody will just, because it's a rhythm they've heard in the air in the atmosphere, it's hard to take that rhythm that they hear and then apply it to this new thing where you're saying all the numbers while you're playing it. So if I was to play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I kind of messed up at the end one there. That's a really difficult thing to do. That's not an easy, that takes a while, but it really improves your rhythm overall if you are able to do that. The way that you would first start to do that is think 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and like counting all of the subdivisions, the 16th note subdivisions in that. And yeah, it's a pretty tricky thing, man. But good question. I'm glad that you asked that, because that is something that's I think about a lot. It is very difficult to play that rhythm and count it at the same time. I recommend you try though, because I think it will improve your rhythm a lot if you go and try to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So just because, oh, also, somebody said that's a 5/4 polyrhythm. Just because they're 5 notes does not mean that that's a 5/4 polyrhythm. I on the last measure of each bar, I just hit a quarter note. So 1, 2, 3, quarter note. 1, 2, 3, quarter note. If I was to really do a 5/4 polyrhythm, oh my God, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's been a while since I've done that sort of thing. Yeah, so that was a 5/4 polyrhythm, if anybody was wondering. Perform 4 minutes and 33 seconds for us. I would, but then the whatever, the number of people watching would go down. Or maybe it would go up. Maybe that would be a live streaming event. Maybe next April Fools, I'll just live stream for exactly 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Yeah. Cool. What is negative harmony? Watch any of the June Lee, Jacob Collier interviews to kind of get more insight on that, if you are at all interested in that. Because there are 2 of them now. June Lee interviewed Jacob Collier a second time. So guys, I think I'm actually going to call it a night. It is almost 1 o'clock. I am tired. It's been a long weekend, and I am ready to hit the bed, hit the hay, go to sleep, do all that. So I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question. I know there are so many questions going by, but thank you so much for everybody who has asked the questions, and hung out, and just in general been a fan of the channel. I'm really appreciative of everybody who watches my channel, and I'm very humbled that people want to hear me rant about music and things like that. So thank you so much, and until next time, bass.